What's it like to be a professional motion designer? It's actually a tough question to answer. So we decided to take a field trip to Detroit, Michigan to visit 4 very different studios. They all do motion design, but in very different ways and with very different styles. Our first stop is Yeah House, a small studio that creates beautiful, illustrative motion design with a focus on 2D.
Our studio, is kind of like a hybrid of animation and motion graphics. I feel like it's evolved and morphed into like more design-oriented things combined together within After Effects.
Co-founder Michelle Willette's art background has given the studio's work a distinctive, beautiful look.
I'm an illustrator. I come from an illustration background, and I do think that you should do what you want to be doing. I want to be making something that I'm really excited about.
I start with basics. I'll paint in just a couple colors, usually complementary, and then I start to build on it. There's just so many plugins, there's so many things you can learn. There's only so much that you need to make something good.
Yeah House has an amazing in-house team, but they'll also work with freelancers like Steve Savali.
Right now I have the fractal noise kind of driving these little things, and then I'll start adding in little things like the long crossbars. Devil's in the details. If it's there, it looks good, and if it's not, it just kind of feels wrong.
Doing great work with a great team in an awesome studio? This is how it's done, people.
We'll just keep doing this until jobs stop coming in.
Yeah.
I guess they haven't, so.
Across town, Lunar North cranks out amazing motion design in their own distinct style, which relies heavily on 3D.
Motion design for us is way more about we're graphic designers first, and then we are animators. Approaching the 3-dimensional software with a graphic design mindset and doing more layout kind of stuff. How can we make these designs feel more tangible now?
This is actually almost like building a movie set. And then you can go through and work through all little corners and details.
The production techniques used by Lunar North are technical, but design always comes first.
The technical side is still big in motion graphics because the tools are constantly changing, but the principles of design, the principles of typography are staying the same. So we're solving communication problems. We're trying to distill big metaphors into bite-sized little pieces.
Having the confidence to go after creatively and technically challenging work has given Lunar North some amazing opportunities.
The tech blog The Verge contacted us, and they were working on a 360 video for Michelle Obama for the White House. And we instantly said, of course we know how to do that, without ever having done that before. And we made an 11.5-minute 360 video in 2 weeks, storyboard, design, animation.
Staying on the cutting edge of technology has helped the company stay nimble.
I think we found a pretty good workflow at this point, and we're able to do lots of really heavy 3D car stuff, lots of really heavy scene stuff.
These little things are rocks, and then the bushes and mountains are hidden in the distance. We'll use a real 360 photograph to fill in the background and create a sky.
You can tell that everyone here loves what they're doing, and it shows in the work.
So I think being able to kind of keep a hub here where people don't have to go to the coast all the time was a really big part of why I wanted to come back to Detroit and start this here. We love what we do. We're passionate about it.
Next up, we check out Gunner, who are irrefutable proof that you don't need to live in New York or LA to do world-class motion design.
The market's definitely at a point where you can be anywhere and you can do anything, especially if you work really hard at it.
The studio's work has a ton of variety, which is possible because of their teamwork-oriented approach.
There's something amazing about when you just work and mix with people.
I think the biggest mistake you can make getting into this is thinking you have to do everything yourself. You can kind of water everything down, or you can get really good at one thing that you're really excited about, and then somebody will always pick you and put you on their team.
Like Rachel, who is a traditional cell animator doing things the old-fashioned way.
For someone who loves to draw, if you like to make things move as well, then it's I want to draw this same character over and over and over again. It takes a long time, but it's you're in your own little world and you get to make creative decisions.
Sitting next to Rachel was John, who was making animations for Google that will end up playing in an app on a phone.
The really interesting thing now is that there's tools that can interpret After Effects animations as lines of code. So in code, this animation actually looks like this.
A lot of Gunner's work has a unique style, and this comes from their old school approach to inspiration.
You'll notice the people that put out really amazing work and the work that you're oh, they're not referencing motion design. They're referencing old paintings, they're referencing art, they're getting back into the principles and the rules, and that's where I feel the really good stuff is coming from. We were trying to not leave out any styles, but still have a stylized piece.
A lot.
This project for the Motion Awards shows you what's possible when a studio builds a team and a vibe like the one at Gunner. You can really feel the love that goes into everything they do.
We just wanted to make cool stuff. Like, even as kids, you're just like, oh, I just want to film the parking lot, make an explosion happen. You're like, you just want and you just do.
Our final stop is Vectorform, a company that uses motion design in some of the most cutting-edge areas of technology.
We do a lot more interactive work. As virtual reality and augmented reality and all the other realities start coming up on the market, we're usually better equipped to start tackling those.
We focus on immersive storytelling.
The company isn't a traditional studio. They create cutting-edge user experiences for some pretty big clients, and motion design plays a huge role in the storytelling process.
We're creating the assets, we're building the worlds, we're building the UI, we're animating out all of this stuff.
I like the variety of it. Like, I get to have my fingers in a lot of different areas, and so that's really nice.
Screens start to disappear. Now you have to find, like, how do you design on these different mediums and how do you actually get like something good out of that?
Working in these new areas requires a new approach and a different breed of software.
After Effects does pre-rendered stuff fantastically, but the problem is when you are dealing with virtual reality, it needs to be in real time. A package like Unity allows us to create things in a 3D virtual environment, and it allows us to then interact with that environment.
The Vectorform team mixes old-school MoGraph techniques with real-time technology to create some insane experiences.
That is wild.
If you look on the globe, you'll see a pulsing effect. That's After Effects. Everything else we did in Unity or in 3D applications.
Even though this stuff is built on the latest tech, the skills that enable Vectorform to produce such killer work are the old-fashioned ones.
Being able to think like a designer, being able to break the problem down into elements and then solve it properly, in my mind, is more important than actually knowing the software. If you can do good design and you can dissect the problems, you'll go significantly farther than just learning the tools.
So to recap, being a professional motion designer means mixing old-school techniques, cutting-edge software, and your own unique voice to create compelling work. The field is growing incredibly fast, and the future of MoGraph has never looked brighter.